General thoughts on this outgoing class of NFL prospects?
Excited for these kids. Doesn't seem like we have as large a group as we had last year. I thought last year's just sheer numbers was probably more. But some great kids, some guys that worked really hard for this day, and a couple guys getting to work out today that didn't get to work out in the combine, which that's really what the pro day is about.
How did you feel like Stetson did today?
To be honest, I didn't get to see it. So I was talking and visiting with different people, so it's hard for me to judge. I know how he's done when he's played games, and I don't think today's any comparison to actually what you do in the games matters more, and he's done a really good job of that.
Who would be someone in this class that you feel like isn't getting talked about enough?
Well, I don't listen to what anybody's saying, so I don't know who's getting talked to more or less. I think we've got some really good quality players that'll make really good pros. Chris Smith's a guy that's been really productive, played well. Kieris is a guy that's not getting to work out due to a surgery that I think is a great player. Warren McClendon, who's going right now, nobody's been more productive in the SEC the last 3 years than Warren has, and hopefully he gets a great opportunity.
Have you had a chance to talk with Jalen Carter, and what did you think of his performance so far today?
I hadn't got to see him work out much. I got to see him. He came out to practice yesterday. I got to talk to him and visit with him, and got to see him work out a little bit today, but I hadn't got to visit with him.
Kirby, what's the team getting from Darnell, Washington that maybe you don't see on TV off the field? Just what would it take?
Well, they get a large human being that's a target that can block and do so many things. I think he's done a tremendous job. I think his weight was 264 at the combine. He played at high 270s, even 280s. So he's a much bigger passing threat than people probably understand when he's at 264. I think he becomes a weapon in that league. He's such a great target, and he's hard to cover. So they're going to get a really good player on and off the field. I'm excited to see him do well.
Kirby, what about his journey here when he came in as a freshman? I know he was a little heavy. Can you talk about his journey here?
Go ahead. I didn't hear his. I heard yours. Go ahead.
I was asking about his journey here from where he came in to where he is now physically and maturity-wise.
Pretty incredible when you think about when I went on a home visit to Vegas and got to see him and meet his family and see, kind of the way he grew up. He's a very mature kid. He had to mature at an early age. He's a father, and I think he takes a lot of pride in that. It's a lot about who he is. He's had a plan since he got here. He's followed that plan. He's executed it. He's been selfless. I mean, the first play of the Kent State game, he's running down the field, literally jumping up in the air, giddy, because his other tight end running a 70-yard touchdown run. And I don't think you find that many places because it wasn't about him. So, go ahead.
You get a lot of questions from NFL guys about Jalen and if so, what do you tell me?
You get a lot of questions about Jalen, which probably was inevitable anyway, because when you start talking about, I got a lot of questions about Travon Walker when he came out, so there's a lot of questions generally, but with the situation, probably more questions and more direct, and just try to be honest and talk about the experiences we had with Jalen here, which Jalen did not have to come back and play after his first injury, nor after his second injury, and both times he wanted to overcome that injury. He begged us to put him in games he was hurt, so the competitive character he's shown, I think, has been really good. And I also think his teammates really respect Jalen. Like, Jalen earned the respect of his teammates. They love being around him. So that's a lot of the things you can say about him.
Hey, Kirby, to follow up on that, what was your sense in terms of his psyche when you visited with him yesterday, coming back?
I was glad he came out to practice. I thought it was important to get him back around the guys and be around some of them. I think him being isolated away from us for a while because he's been out working out and training is tough. And I can only imagine what he's dealing with internally. As a survivor from a tragic accident, and knowing the outcome of that accident. There's some mental health things there that you have to be able to help with, and I can't speak to what he's going through. I think he's got to answer those questions, but we're certainly going to try to support him as much as we can.
What have teams been asking about Stetson Bennett just in his years of working with him and his just journey?
Strengths and weaknesses, what we think he can improve on, what his mental makeup is, and all those things he gets to showcase in every game he played in. I thought he did a great job of doing that.
What is an area of improvement for Stetson?
Well, decision making's been really good. He's shown improvement in those, but I don't think you pick one area and say, hey, he can improve in this area. He can improve in everything. What he has done is played at the highest level of college football for a lot of games, and he's played really well. And that speaks volumes for himself.
32 NFL teams here, multiple head coaches, general managers. What does that say about this program and what you're able to do with these guys?
Well, I think they do a good job covering us, and they know we have an open door policy. We're one of the few teams in the country that will let you come in and watch anytime we want. We don't have something to hide. We don't say you can't come this week, or we're paranoid you're going to see some play. So they feel very comfortable. They give us good feedback about the access to our players and the access to our program. I think they appreciate that. They know that we're their developmental league. That's what we are. They don't have a minor league. They have college football.
What do you see from Nolan? Just
Well, I think it says we're comfortable about them coming back, so we have to permit that too, and that's not something that a lot of schools feel like they should do. A lot of these kids, it's about how you leave, right? Do you leave the right way? Do you handle things the right way? And I'm proud for a lot of those kids. They were Georgia guys for a long time in some cases, and for them to have an opportunity to come back and compete, I certainly want to honor that.
Why do you feel like Nolan Smith will be successful in the NFL?
Nolan's intelligent, he's charismatic, teammates love him, he's passionate, he's full of energy, and he's one of the toughest guys I've ever been around. So Nolan's going to be successful at whatever he does. He told me he was going to come back and be the head coach of Georgia. I told him he could have it.
How valuable was today for guys like Arian, Marcus, guys that were out there running routes that are coming back?
I don't know that it's valuable for him. I think it's more valuable for Stetson, because take those guys out of it and you don't have somebody to throw to. So really it's a luxury. It's a nice reprieve the NFL's given to have guys be able to do that, because without that, that probably doesn't help Stetson. So we needed guys to be able to come out here and throw and catch and do those things. If anything, it gives them some pressure catches they get to make.
Despite the off-the-field things when it comes to Jalen, just talent-wise, do you believe he should be a top pick in this year's draft?
Yeah, he's a generational talent. He's very talented. I've been around, coaching for 18 years, and there's very few guys I've coached that have the talent that he has.
What did you make of the opening practice yesterday?
I'm excited about it. We had really good energy, enthusiasm, a little windy, so it wasn't like, we probably didn't have the kind of day you'd like to have in terms of passing football, but with 25-mile-an-hour gusts, that probably had a big part of that, and I expected those guys to bounce back on that side. We didn't have pads on, so it's hard to evaluate that, but I did enjoy the energy, enthusiasm the guys had competing against each other.
What kind of recruiting pitch is this for your program every year?
Well, I think the recruiting pitch probably comes on the draft day when it actually happens. Today's a great day for our guys to come work out, but all the work they put in kind of gets paid off on draft day.
Kirby, a lot of your guys were talking about the Do It for Dev and the standard. Where did that, I don't want to call it a planned piece, it seems very organic, but how did it come to that? Because that now appears to be a part of this offseason DNA, I guess you call it program DNA.
Probably from Warren Erickson. He spoke at the memorial service, and he said it more like be like Dev, because Dev was never on a list. He was never part of any kind of discipline. The guy's never missed a class, never been late to anything. And I thought, Warren said it best when he said this kid did everything right. And if you want to be like somebody, be like Dev, because he didn't try to fake it. He didn't try to be super tough. He was a gentle giant, and more people should be who they are.
How do you think
Take two more questions,
How do you think
please.
Broderick Jones' skill set compares to some of the left tackles you've had that have gone to the NFL in recent years?
Really talented. I mean, you look at the guys we've had, they've got length, they've got athleticism. He's probably faster and maybe twitchier than some of those guys getting the second level. Maybe not as powerful as an Andrew or one of those guys, but in a pass pro league, he's elite at that.
Robert Beal's the guy that kind of flies under the radar. What kind of skill set, what kind of character does he bring to it?
Pass rusher, great athlete, he's tough, physical. I think Robert's going to be really successful in the NFL. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.